Welcome to Crescent City with your hosts Natalie Jean and Jackie Zabrowski. I think it's also kind of cute to watch the Autumn King suck out of a little straw.
Very
Oh,
emasculating.
big, bad, scary man now, huh?
I mean, you're crushing this look, dude. I don't know. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm feeling it. But I mean, we were talking about, I don't know what horrific red-haired man destroyed SJM's life, but definitely one did at some point.
Like a shoulder-length, red-haired man.
Yeah, because I was saying I wore the wig that I'm currently wearing as, obviously, the Autumn King right now.
You do look like the Autumn King, but
Thank you.
in a complimentary way.
No, I'm feeling it. Well, I mean, to look like any of these characters, you're still the hottest.
Yeah.
You know, I'm hotter than I would be as a human. And I just want to say that I am. But I feel bad because I'm wearing the same wig that I wore for Arabin, and it's like the same. They both have the same hair, and there are multiple think also Autumn Court and Akatar.
So true.
There's some red-haired man.
Doesn't the father have long red hair?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting. Someday when we become best friends with SJM, she's going to let us know.
About all of her traumas?
Yeah, I was like, let's talk about her traumas. Natalie, you say that as if bitches don't get together and immediately start talking about our traumas. Do you remember, what was it?
We have a
circle of shame.
We have
yeah.
Shame Circle.
Shame Circle.
Our girl group has a thing called Shame Circle.
And sometimes you gotta let your shames out somewhere.
And it's also a way to learn everyone's secrets and hold them against them forever.
Keep them in your grasp. Never let them get away.
No, our girlfriends are so perfect and amazing. Like, we couldn't even. There's no reason to hold ransom. Like, why would we ever?
No, and that's why it's so fun. The shame stories. You're just like, it's either A, you go, girl, that's not shameful. Don't be ashamed of that. Own yourself. Or you go, wow, I'm looking at you differently now. Interesting that you did that. Doesn't mean that I
wow, you're looking directly at me, huh?
I'm looking towards you.
Told you some stuff.
I'm looking around you. Now my eyes are just wide and I'm looking around
Don't look around.
you.
Don't look at me.
Like what Carmi does, when Carmi gets
trouble.
into the donuts. Yeah.
Yeah, she just did it again.
No, she didn't. What'd she get into?
She pulled my entire filled book bag off of the table onto the floor, exploded everywhere. But she couldn't
find anything?
No. She just was looking for food because we were gone for 2 hours. And she was like, well, they're never coming back to feed me, I guess. Thankfully, the only thing that I had in there that was open or food at all was a bag of flamin' hot Cheetos.
But she didn't get in it?
She must have licked it and said no thank you because they were still there.
Wow, you finally found her kryptonite. You're going to start having to put flaming hot dust all over everything you own. And if that's not a way to help parent your dog, I don't know what is.
Right? I mean, that is dog safety. Like, that's how you have to keep them safe from things. If you did that to a child, it would be abuse. To a dog, it's love.
Would it be? I feel like you can do the same. Isn't that what, like, baby-proofing your house is? It's just putting cheese dust all over everything?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah,
right?
so that they can suck on whatever they want, right?
Or, like, it's
teething.
If it burns, then they don't suck on it, which is what they need to not do, right?
Right,
like,
unless, again, teething, so you don't put it on the stuff they're teething with. See, man, it's like, give us babies. We know what to do.
I got it. I figured this out.
It's fine. We won't put him in one of those.
It's hard to raise a child.
I guess.
Oh.
No, we got to go back to the time of the baby cages. Remember when they would have, it looked like where you would put an air conditioner in your window, but actually was before a time where air conditioners were go, because that's where they would let the babies get outside space.
Well, in the cities, right? Because everybody was living in apartments. They didn't have yards or anything. And so they just put their babies in a cage.
Out the window.
Hovering 20 stories above Manhattan's cement floor.
Yeah. Do we not do that with air conditioners now? I feel like if you can do it with an AC, you can do it with a baby. And that is a Jackie Zabrowski guarantee.
That's what your campaign is running on.
Yeah, man. I'm ready to be president. Everybody will vote for me.
President.
Yes.
More like president.
No, Natalie, please. Let me be the leader of the free world.
Please let want me. Come on.
All right, fine. I'm not going to win the national vote today. But I do need to bring up this little paragraph at the top of your script, Natalie, and talk about shame circles. I mean, I figured you were going to bring it up. But I need to, if we're talking shame circles, we got to talk about Natalie being the jigsaw of hummingbirds.
That's what I wrote. That's what I felt like yesterday. So my office, I have all these huge fake flowers all over the ceiling and stuff because I just want to
You don't trust natural beauty. Interesting.
No.
All right. You only want the fake. Okay.
I can't keep things alive. I try.
I understand. You keep the dogs alive, and that's asking, you're doing a lot.
But I also like oversized flowers, so I feel like a tiny fairy in a big forest. And I'm like,
Ooh.
whoa.
Yeah.
So that's also why they're fake. Unfortunately, with the door open yesterday, I guess a hummingbird was drawn by the very sharp red flowers that I have in there, got stuck in my office, which has a peaked ceiling. It was up at the top.
Did you make the hummingbird saw off its own leg?
Yes, I did. I said, would you like to get out?
No.
You have 12 hours.
No.
Make your choice.
Don't do it, Natalie.
But I couldn't get the hummingbird out because it was freaking out. I was scared. And so I opened every possible orifice
I
of
mean,
the
I feel
room.
like it's like the bat moment in the camp Heiny Bear, where my brain just stopped working. Bald Heiny Bear. Great Outdoors. We called it the Bald Heiny Bear.
Bald Heiny
Bald
Bear.
Heiny
Great
Bear
Outdoors,
movie, yeah.
of course. The movie that maybe you and I love and no one else listening to this show
cares
will even remember.
About okay, producer knows it. All right, we're talking about the bat scene, like
Yes.
and that's what you went through.
It was, but except it wasn't. I wasn't scared. The hummingbird was terrified. Couldn't leave, and so I had to go online. I was looking like how to get a hummingbird to get out of the room.
Do you have to use like oven mitts?
No, they said the hummingbirds go towards light and they go towards red colored things looking for nectar. And so I had to then start to fashion flowers over all of the open door spaces and kind of just wait for it to get darker. And when it was getting darker, it kept flitting.
This was an all-day affair.
Yes, it kept flitting from fake flower to fake flower trying to find nectar. And it was like I was trying to
Why did you
portray.
do this to the hummingbird?
I didn't know. I didn't know I was creating a sadistic like torture chamber for a hummingbird, but the hummingbird was trying to find nectar over and over again, and all the flowers couldn't. Finally, found its way to one of the ones I had hung over the open window, tried to find nectar in that last one, and then it escaped.
Welcome to Shame Circle, bitches.
And now I feel like I've created this like horrible trap for hummingbirds unintentionally.
No, I thought that the story was going to end, and I woke up, and the limp body of the hummingbird was on the floor. Like, I thought that's where this was going.
I was scared I was going to, because I tried to help it, like, move it with a broom towards the window, and I was so scared, because they're tiny.
I know, you're not supposed to touch them.
And I didn't, it got far from me every time, so it's fine. It flew away, but they're so little. I don't know if you guys live in areas where there's hummingbirds. We're going to talk about the book. But they are so cool, and they look like insects. And they hoverfly, like they can hover in place. And so it was actually kind of sick that I got to like look at one up close, and it was just like resting on the ceiling.
They move so fast, and
because you never get to see them sitting still, because they literally can sit still while flying in the air, so they're constantly moving. But it was cool to kind of see it, and then it lived, so it was okay.
I feel like I should hope that it died because I'm the Autumn King right now, but I'm happy as Jackie that it lived.
Because you would, as the Autumn King, do experiments on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just to find out, like, how do I move like that? Can I start flitting or an all about?
Oh, like Aelin?
Yeah.
Like Selena learned?
Yes.
How to move as the snake?
Like as a snake, and then I'm moving like, what if all of a sudden went, pew, and then I just like was out of the room all of a sudden because I learned to be the bird. Live the bird.
Do it. I would be thrilled. Please learn. Now you have to.
All right.
You suggested it.
I'm going to start an internship with hummingbirds.
Okay. We have to go for it.
Wait.
No, you're not doing. They have huge beaks that go in. You need to stick your mouth
all the way in. I'm sorry. For those of you that can't see, I was trying to use my straw as if it was my nectar straw into my large iced coffee, but Yeah, I guess that doesn't work. I can't fit my face in it.
No.
Well, I guess now we gotta start talking about the book. Fine.
We are, by the way, I am wearing a Bryce costume again. I'm not being lazy. I have so many good costumes coming up, but some of the pieces weren't in yet. So
I
now I'm
completely
being
understand.
Bryce on this. Bryce has a lot of good fits, and so I probably will be wearing some, but this is my...
It certainly is going to open up a world that oh God, the outfits that I have to purchase for my job.
Yep.
Oh no, don't make me get it, oh no.
Oh, dang.
But that also includes now this black turtleneck and black blazer. So this I'm gonna get a lot of use out of.
You didn't have a stockpile of black turtlenecks just in your house already?
Man, maybe I should become more of like a cowl-necked bitch.
I mean,
Give
you
your
could
father-
pull it off, but I guess I like a cowl neck when you can turn it into a hood.
Yeah. Like Selena Sargothian. But again, we're not talking about her. I'm looking at Bryce Quinlan right now.
Yes, we're with Bryce in her lush apartment where we left off in the aftermath of the news that she is being tasked with figuring out what happened to Danica.
Yikes.
So if you recall, the angels showed up at her work and the archangel Micah showed up and said...
And none of them kissed.
No. What they did say is, bitch, you're now on detective mode.
Entrapped.
And she doesn't have a choice. And her boss also signed off on it. And so now this is what she's doing. In this chapter, we get a view of her home life, her private life, and also how freaking cute Syrinx
Oh my
is.
God, I want Syrinx so bad.
I know. Oh my God. But even though she's describing sort of this like comfortable living space, and she has this creature that she loves so much, all is not super well because she reminisces over the text that Juniper has sent her this day, warning her of the murder and that Briggs may have not killed the devils, which she already knows.
Yeah, we know that, Juniper.
But Fury's obviously the one who told Juniper this, meaning Fury didn't tell Bryce.
And also that Fury is talking to somebody, but not her.
Which is whack, because Fury should care that Bryce is gonna die. Like, doesn't she care at all about her safety?
Grief makes a person weird, Natalie.
It's so true. You could also interpret it to mean that, like, Fury knew that Juniper was gonna talk to Bryce, and so Fury tells Juniper and is like whoever you need to do, whatever. Because that's, basic friend politics there aside. Bryce can't relax as she'd like to because she has realized that Hunt Athalar has already taken up his post, doing his duty of staring at her.
Oh, at me? But it's me as the
Autumn
King. Hey, Hunt. Oh.
Yeah, you sneak in on the Autumn King and he's pretending like Hunt's like following him around,
Staring
like,
at him.
Hunt.
Oh,
I didn't see you there.
Oh. But he's like doing all of his experiments because that's the thing. Autumn King, like with any of these characters, if they could just be nice for a little while, I'm going to want to kiss them.
Of course.
I just need a little bit of niceness. The bar is very low.
And yet they can't get to that bar, some of them, including the Autumn King. He is always such a prick.
Pissy missy.
So now Hunt has started his duty.
He is being a bit of an Edward in this situation, but I will say he was tasked with watching her.
Oh, as in that she's not asking for him to just like watch over her
while she sleeps in the middle of the night and not know it.
He's being less of a creep than Edward, because Edward literally was staring at Bella as she was asleep without her permission.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, at least like Bryce knows that Hunt is asked to be there.
And he doesn't show up in her room at night and stare at her.
Yeah.
And he might want to.
Oh, he's thinking about it.
He's thinking. She doesn't believe, though, for 1 minute that it's for her safety.
Oh.
No, she knows he's there to spy on her. She's not an idiot. And it's irritating her all to hell. She peers out her massive floor-to-ceiling window. I don't think that's ever said, but in my head canon, it's a
floor-to-ceiling windows. I think that it is all, in my brain, it's all white and it's all floor-to-ceiling windows, completely open and exposed.
Yeah.
Above them, the setting sun smeared the sky red and gold and pink. The palm trees and cypresses swayed in the balmy spring breeze. And that was a winged male sitting on the opposite roof, staring right at her. She knew those gray wings and the dark, shoulder-length hair and the cut of those broad shoulders.
Ugh, gross. Ew,
Oh,
yuck.
yeah, no, I would hate it if he was
Yuck.
watching me.
The big strapping angel's watching. Ew.
Ew, yuck, get away.
She is annoyed. She whips the curtains closed.
Actually, you know what? I say this, but I'm going to immediately call myself out. I was at the gym with my partner yesterday, and he was looking at me from across the gym, and I felt eyes on me while I was working out, and I got so creeped out, and I got so yucked out, and then I realized who it was that was looking at me, and then I got real good and turned on. But it was one of those things that, like, there's something about getting stared at, and I don't want to just say, I don't want to genderize this, but just, like, as a person, when you're getting stared at in a vulnerable place, especially like in your own home, that no matter how sexy the dude is, it will usually put you off at first.
For sure. Especially because she knows, and she knows that he has to, but she doesn't want him watching her.
No.
But, you know, so
But
she,
I do want my husband watching me.
from across the...
Ooh, I gotta do these squats.
Do you have him go sit on the opposite building and stare at you through the window?
Yeah, he's not allowed to work out. He can only watch me work out. And he's got to brood. And I go, brood harder.
And you make him wear those huge fake wings, which is like, he couldn't work out if he wanted to.
No, everyone hates us at the LA Fitness. But man, we do what we can.
She whips the curtains closed on him so he can't see in the room. Moments later, though, she gets a call from an unsaved number and realizes immediately it's him.
Cute.
And
I know it's not cute, but it's cute.
it is cute because he wants to watch TV. She answers the call and he's like, "It's fucking hot. Open the curtains again." And she's like, "Why?" And he says, "I want to watch TV." And this is the first time we've gotten a sense of anything beyond the killing machine that is Hunt. Like, everything we've learned about him so far is, like, dark and sad and bleak, and we don't see any person or angel personhood. He's a person still. He's just not a human. We don't see the personhood of him until this moment when he says he'd rather watch a Sunball game than see her reality TV bullshit, but he's bored, essentially. And
Which is cute.
Yeah, and Bryce finds this amusing as well. Remember, she doesn't know him from any other government official, so this is the first time she knows him to be this, like, scary creature, and she's like, oh, he wants to watch reality TV with me? Weird.
Especially because she doesn't know the side of him at all. So,
Right.
like, ugh. Sorry, I love love, okay?
As the Autumn King, you shouldn't.
I know, I mean, I am strong.
She is not interested in entertaining him on his shift. Despite his demand to let him watch the trash TV, she's trying to relax too. We can get a sense of Hunt in that, he's not a robot, but his bedside manner still isn't great. He's not being sweet. He's like...
he's gruff.
He's being gruff. Instead of trying to engage with Bryce in a productive way, he's bickering with her, a fact that seems to delight Bryce. Not because she wants to get to know him, but she seemingly is enjoying tormenting him. Until he calls her sweetheart for the first time. This gets under her skin, and he seems to know it.
Again, a well-placed sweetheart can do wonders, but it can also destroy a lot. And I think you got to remember that of what you look like when you call somebody a sweetheart, you know? If it's like a 90-year-old man outside the coffee shop that, like, is like, hey, have a good day, sweetheart. You know, one of those. Mm-hmm. I melt.
Oh, sure.
I love an old man calling me sweetheart, and I think it just makes me think of all the, like, all the old curmudgeons in Queens that I know and love.
Who are, like, safe people around.
Yes, yeah. And when you're getting a sweetheart, but, like, sweetheart coming from a gruff man.
Well, especially if it's incredibly condescending, which is what he's doing in this moment.
So I would not be happy about it.
So that gets enough under her skin that she gets up again from the couch to stomp over to the window, still speaking with him over the phone, but now staring at him, and reminds him that she is the one tasked with this order. He is just a lookout to stop bossing her around. They continue their argument until Hunt flips her off and tells her to keep the curtains open. But sarcastically, she thinks,
shadow of death, indeed.
As referencing that he's flipping her off like a petulant child.
Like a teenager would, and he's the Umbra Mortis.
She tells him sarcastically again to go order a pizza. Maybe he'd be better at delivering pizza with those wings.
I bet he would be.
And then she closes the curtains on him again, despite him demanding she keep them open.
Oh, is it a bit of a situation.
No, they hate each other.
No, they don't. No. Oh.
This, of course, won't be the end of Hunt. He immediately begins texting her, asking her what she would consider inane questions about the security around her apartment. Kind of just like being blustery and, again, condescending, asking dumb things like, do you have security on your front door? And she's like, oh, no, I've never considered that before. Thank you for all of your insight. She blows him off again until a loud thump on her window scares the crap out of her. She again stomps over and opens the curtains.
His dark eyes didn't so much as blink. Striking. That was the only word Bryce could think of to describe his handsome face, full of powerful lines and sharp cheekbones.
You can make this investigation easy, or you can make it hard,
he growls.
We, the reader, knows what's at stake for him. And, he knows that he needs to get this solved. But Bryce just thinks he's being an alpha hole, a word that gets used a lot in this book, which is basically, I would say, Midgard's version of, like, I would consider it a
boy.
Yeah, like an asshole / himbo.
Actually, it's more I feel like fuckboy is not, just more of a king asshole.
Yeah. And so she doesn't understand what's at stake for him. So she just thinks he's being a bossy asshole. They bicker some more, with Bryce telling him to stop bossing her around, essentially. Even though he's annoyed, he seems to find amusement when Syrinx appears at the window sniffing at him. So he's grumbling and gruffling and all that stuff. But then when you see Syrinx pop up, you can see a little
glimmer.
A glimmer of like, oh, he has like feelings.
Oh, then he's got a big, soft heart, and underneath all those hard muscles.
Let's not go that far. We don't know that.
I know. It's just my problem is it's so difficult. And this is coming from someone that talked a lot about Arbats yesterday because I watched the first episode of Penguin. And so I didn't know that it's all about in the world of Robert Pattinson's Batman. And I just love talking about, I think so many of my feelings about Hunt obviously come from my feelings about Batman. And it's difficult to like separate the two because I feel like even though like obviously, you can tell that there's chemistry between them. But the second I started reading about Hunt Athalar, I was just like, between him and Cassian, like those are my two big of just like, I am attracted to, what if I just made him smile? What if I could like just crush that candy shell on the outside and get to the chocolate on the inside?
What? The poop?
Yeah, give me the poop. I'll take it all. That's what love is, Natalie. All right? Sometimes you gotta lick the poop.
I don't think that's true.
What? Why didn't you say that earlier?
Should we have a conversation off air?
I've been married for years.
It's interesting, and I'm thankful that we have the opposite taste. Like, obviously, I'm still very attracted to these fellows, but I'm much more of a resigned.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah. But I just can't wait for Hunt to protect me.
Okay. All right, Autumn King. That's not going to happen.
I would also watch them kiss too. It would be such an interesting, mix-em-ups.
I guess. But I don't want Autumn King to experience pleasure.
I know. I don't deserve it, even though I'm stunningly gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Thank you.
So we see Hunt sort of react to Syrinx in a way, but Bryce doesn't find that charming. She actually has this like a sort of like a thread of fear kind of spike through her, wanting to protect the only thing she seems to have power over, Syrinx, from him and everyone else, as though her close ties are so fragile. She saw people she cared about be destroyed, and so now she wants to protect the only thing that she can have control over, right? So,
and she has nobody else to turn to right now, really. Not like that's in the room of someone that can physically comfort her, and Syrinx is kind of the only thing she's got.
So she doesn't want to share Syrinx with Hunt, and I think it's because she's afraid of something happening to this little creature that she cares about. So she tells him in so many words to piss off, and then closes the curtains again for the night. Hunt is fuming the following morning after this first interaction, as he waits on the street to continue his tracking of Bryce for the day. So we've cut to the next morning. He calls Isaiah to complain about this task, And also in that conversation gives us some chimera lore, which is, I think this is just made up for, I don't think this comes from chimera Earth lore. I think this is just in SJM world, that chimeras are able to pick locks, open doors, and jump between two places as if they were walking from one room to another, which is interesting.
How do they do it with their paws?
Oh, it's so cute though.
I mean, you can barely exist with your fake nails on.
Oh my God.
I even
how
see
do y'all do this all the time?
Natalie was complaining about the fake nails right before because we were trying to hang up our backdrop. And I can even see you like gesticulating with them and feeling them on the ends of your hand. Like, I don't know how, like, I want fake nails so badly, but I can't get over the fact that they're on my fingers. And I can't stop thinking about them on my fingers.
I love how they look, especially.
They look so good.
Especially this kind, yeah, with the tip, what are these ones called? I forget.
Tippy taps.
And then the coffin tipped ones and stuff. Like, I love.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
They always look so badass, but I can't do anything.
No.
With these on.
But you're looking really good while you gesticulate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I just feel like it gives you so much more of a flair and so much more power.
ASMR.
How do you like them nails?
Hunt also thinks on the fact that chimeras are a part of something we're going to learn about called the lowers, or peregrini.
Thank you. Accent of my people.
Yeah, which loosely translates to foreigner from Latin, which is interesting. Meaning it's sort of like whatever the creatures are considered in this world that are lower comprehension skills, like pets. But from the way he described his knowledge of them, it doesn't really sound like chimeras aren't without consciousness.
Yeah, it sounds like they're actually pretty smart.
But the Asteri seem to believe that they can't follow laws, and so they have to be treated as possessions, which seems like that's garbage.
Sounds like you've got control issues,
right,
Asteri.
Don't tell them, because they'll turn you into, I think, just like vapor.
Go ahead, vape me up. I'm gonna turn into cauliflower lung inside of you.
You're gonna give them
Yeah.
lung dust.
Ultimate revenge.
That's fun. That's a good idea. He's explaining all of this to Isaiah, we find out, because Hunt was awoken that morning with a nip from Syrinx, who had just appeared next to him on the opposite roof. He bites his little butt.
So cute.
As if to say, hey, you're sleeping on the job, Jagoff. Like, he's trying to, like, it's essentially
helping.
Syrinx is on team, yes, have Hunt watch his owner / servant / friend, Bryce.
And I know, obviously, I feel like you can't compare a chimera to a dog of sorts, but I feel like it is that kind of thing where it's like when a dog knows innately you're a good person. I feel like there are just some dogs that understand that some humans are better than other humans.
I definitely think it gives us a sense that we're supposed to feel like Hunt is not the bad guy here because of the way Syrinx is interacting with him and not being like aggressive.
I believe, I trust Syrinx.
Unless Hunt is a master manipulator. We don't know.
Let's see what them fingers can manipulate. Not with your nails.
So, as this is happening that morning, he's retelling this to Isaiah later on in the morning. But as it happened in the morning in real time, Bryce whips the curtains open just in time to see him, like, grabbing his ass and going like, ow, ow, ow. But Syrinx had already disappeared again, and he doesn't think that she knows that Syrinx can do these sort of things, that like Syrinx can get out of his crate and all this stuff. But she just sees him looking like an idiot when she opens the curtains. And when she does open the curtains, she's just in her underwear smirking, which immediately goes like, ah! And he just like turns around. He calls her a, quote, fucking brat to Isaiah. Isaiah finds Hunt's frustration amusing, even though Isaiah tries to hide this. He basically tells Hunt to get over himself, even as Hunt tells him he feels like an idiot standing outside the nail salon Bryce entered that morning instead of going to work, which is where he is having this phone call.
And I will also throw it out there that I feel like it's big that even though he's a big curmudge and he's a big old gruff angel, he still does talk about his feelings with Isaiah. Even though, I feel like that is you wouldn't expect that from an Umbra Mortis. Of him
Right.
even just talking about something.
I'm uncomfortable
Yeah,
right now.
like I'm frustrated. Even just accepting those things, that's not usually what you get from them big old gruff boys most of the time.
So sometimes there's not a lot going on up at the
Yeah,
top.
sometimes, you say, keep the mouth shut. It's just, we don't need to talk. We don't need to talk.
So after the two hang up, Hunt glowers through the window and thinks about how he's still very suspicious of Bryce and contemplates why she might have a reason to kill the pack of devils. So he's still kind of living in the world of, I don't really know that I can take her off the suspect list right now, especially if she's acting shady. She won't let me see the TV. I feel like maybe a little bit he's feeling personally offended by her.
But I imagine, too, is respecting the fact that assumably that she would be able to do that to the pack of devils. Like, I think that it's surprising because I would assume most, like, Malachim, most, like, angels wouldn't assume that a human could turn wolves into vapor.
Yeah.
In the way that, like, the way that they were ripped apart the way they were. And
or control the demon creature.
Exactly. And, like, he must assume she's got a lot of power, which also I like about him.
Oh, yeah, totally. When she's finished and makes her way back to the street, so she gets her nails done, she keeps him out there for over an hour. He watches it and he's just like, what is happening? This looks like torture. I don't want to be here. She comes back out and they continue their animosity. Hunt telling her she's wasting time. Bryce telling him he doesn't know what he's talking about. So he sort of insinuates that she's supposed to be helping solve this murder and she's just like getting her nails done. Ugh, like a dumb girl. They argue all the way back to her apartment where she slams the front door on him.
To be fair, probably shouldn't have been like the first thing she did after being tasked with this huge project. But, Bryce is gonna Bryce.
And Bryce, sometimes we learn Bryce has reasons for doing things.
Yes, she does.
We cut to later that day and Bryce is at Griffin chatting with Leheba, going through some books looking for some kind of information. It's clear from Leheba's prodding of Bryce in this scene that she has a little crush on Hunt and wishes him to come inside so she can flirt with him.
I love this energy. I love a fire sprite just being like, hell no, not going to stop me from flirting with you, you big old boy.
Big man. The Tinkerbell energy is strong here.
Yes.
She has Leheba has sort of an innocent, childlike affectation, but is definitely a full-grown woman.
Yeah, she's got all of it. Yeah.
She's full-grown sprite, I suppose. Side note, as Bryce is getting exasperated with who she calls Lily for short, pleading, she looks up and notes that the chandelier above her head is made to look like a sun with the 7 planets of her solar system revolving around it. So that's what they have going on over there. So we got 8.
Yeah.
Used to be 9.
Man, sometimes you gotta lose that piggy toe. Who needs it, evolution?
I love Pluto. I wish it was still a planet. Justice for Pluto.
Yes. What is it? Isn't it like a dwarf star or something?
Yeah, it didn't fit all the criteria, the updated criteria.
Change your criteria.
Pluto is so pretty. Have you ever seen up close satellite images of it?
No.
Oh my god, it's so gorgeous.
Is it like a planet of ice?
It's
Tell
colorful.
me about Pluto, Natalie.
Also, I don't want to say it's colorful because they might be dyed photos because sometimes that's what they do to show things look brighter in space.
To make us go, oh wow, pretty big. Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean it works on me.
I mean, I'm down.
But it's cool looking. But hey, maybe they just took another planet off. Maybe this is our solar system in some other realm, in some other.
Well, we are the piggy toe.
We are the piggy toe.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Somebody is very tired today. So, as Lily and Bryce talk, we get some background info about sprites. They were kicked out of the House of Sky and Breath for joining the Angel Rebellion in order to fight for their rights to not be considered Peregrini.
Hell yes!
So, that is to say, they were a part of that same Angel Rebellion that put Hunt in this servitude. And the sprites were considered, and still are considered, Peregrini, which is to say, lessers.
They fought alongside them.
considering them Peregrini seems unreasonable since they very clearly can communicate and have intelligence.
Absolute bullshit. That is bullshit.
But maybe they're being judged by their size, that they were treated as possessions. Or maybe just because they were so small, they could be taken, like, abused in that way and taken as possessions.
I'm not fat. I'm fun-sized. That's what I would say.
Okay.
There was a meme that Henry and I really loved for a long time, and it had Theodore from the Chipmunks on it, and it said, I'm not fat, I'm fun-sized.
But isn't fun size suggesting it's smaller?
Yeah. It doesn't, I think it was a meme from its time.
Oh.
And I don't think it needed to make much sense, but I do refer to myself as fun-sized often.
I'm glad we can still talk about it.
Thank you.
That we can remember it. And
Shame circle.
when the Angel Rebellion failed, all the sprites were punished even more so. So they are still considered Peregrini, but now they are deemed servants to the Asteri forever, each one branded with the SPQM that Hunt also wears on his wrist. They are now houseless and mere possessions while also being servants.
Not fair. They are powerful also.
I'm sure it will never come back to bite the Asteri in the butt. Lily suggests that Bryce purchase her the way that she did Syrinx, and she can keep Bryce's baths warm, which is very sad and sweet. Imagine how much people could save on pool heating bills if we had fire sprites.
Yeah, but you'd want to live alongside the fire sprite and not own the fire sprite.
Yeah, but that's how they contribute to the house. I don't think it hurts them.
Yeah, as long as they were down with it. As long as it was together, it's you heat this, I'll make you macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
And together, heated pool, macaroni and cheese, now that is a date I'd like to go on.
Damn, I know. Why are we working? Let's go do that.
Pool, macaroni and cheese. Well, now I'm just going to be thinking about macaroni and cheese
yeah,
all day.
I'm hungry. Why'd you do this?
I'm sorry.
So Lily is asking Bryce to basically buy her because she has to be considered a possession as a Peregrini, and she is in servitude to Jessica and the Asteri, so she has to work in this antiquity store. And she's saying, Bryce, well, maybe just buy me and then I can live with you in Syrinx. Bryce is irritated that Lily is interrupting her work and tells her she can't just do that. That Jessica only let her buy Syrinx after the murders because of how fucked up her life was, quote unquote. You shouldn't curse so much, BB. Is all that Leheba replies.
I think that part of my issues at first with Bryce was how she treated Leheba, even though, you had to continue on to learn more about their friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it always hurt me that I was she's already, seen as lesser than you. Don't talk down to her. But then it's yeah, but that's how Bryce was with all of her friends.
Yeah.
And it's remembering that it's no, that's just their friendship. I don't usually keep friendships like that.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that that doesn't make her bad just because that's their form of friendship.
And it is. They do have, that camaraderie in that way where she is just sort of, treating her a bit like a Tinkerbell, just being get out of here.
Yeah, I'm doing important work, and you're just annoying me.
Yeah. In this scene, she also insinuates that she and Syrinx, that to say Leheba, and Syrinx can communicate. Though I don't know if we ever really find out if that's true or if this is just Leheba's attempt to convince Bryce to buy her. But it seems as though maybe as whatever communicate, maybe I don't want to say as Peregrinis because they are put in that category. They don't want to be there, but they might have some way to talk through mind or something. I don't know. But this is all taking place in the basement library of Griffin Antiquities, where Jessica keeps a number of rare and enchanted books, ironically guarded by the fire sprite.
Now I'm just lost in thought of how they can communicate.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why would they be connected? And I wonder where...
I don't know. But she multiple times she says, Syrinx told me this or that.
Right, yeah. And I never really thought about that before. Interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have nothing else to say about that. I just never really thought too much into it.
Yeah. We might learn. Who knows?
Oh.
So they are doing this in the basement of Griffin where there's a bunch of contraband, kind of like enchanted books down there, and they are animated throughout the time that we see Bryce in this room, sometimes jumping off the shelves or sneaking around.
I do. God, it's one of those. It's like the same from the, She Who Must Not Be Named.
Yeah.
I love the idea of moving books and moving photographs.
Yeah.
It's so fun to me. Like, I still keep my, iPhone photos on live or whatever,
Mhm.
because then when you hold it down, you see, a snapshot of the moment that
Yeah.
you were taking the picture. And I feel like that's going to be so important someday down the line, with the more people we lose as we get older and older, of having those moments in time and
Mhm.
being able to see them move. And it's just one of those things that it gets so sad. There's multiple things about reading books like these where it's like, well, we're also human and never going to be any of these creatures. And, there are things that we have to accept about the life that we're trapped in, all right? And there's no moving books, and we kind of have moving photographs, and I'll take it.
Oh, the pictures, the moving pictures?
Oh, the picture shows. How do they make them talkies?
Oh, yeah, the talkies.
I guess why aren't podcasts called talkies, guys?
Wizarding World is one of the coolest theme areas you can ever go to if you ever want to experience that feeling. Like the way it's decked out is really cool to see the castle and everything, because they have the moving paintings.
Yes, yeah. When you have to wait for many, many hours to ride a 2-minute ride.
Whoa!
Is it 2
shots
minutes?
fired.
Is it 2 minutes? Yeah, that's what I'm taking umbrage with. I think it's a 30-second ride. Yeah, I said it.
Umbrage?
Don't you dare. You're gonna start writing on your own hand, and then we're gonna see. We're talking about Harry Potter now. We're not supposed to be talking about Harry Potter.
I'm talking about theme parks. I'll talk
Okay.
about it all day.
All right, yeah, theme parks is fine.
So while Bryce is going through these books looking for some form of information, Jessica calls and tells her a client is coming in shortly. And after the call is finished, Bryce looks around the room she's sitting in, reflecting on her life. If you'll recall, she's not super thrilled to be working here, but she is thinking about how interesting this building is. And she thinks about how the amazing sound system exists in this sub-level library, but then also continues on that thought by saying she doesn't really dance anymore.
She doesn't dance anymore.
Which is a big deal. Like, as a dancer, to stop doing it is like a huge tragic.
Because it's your whole life.
Sometimes people stop because they want to, but it is like this big, paradigm shift in your life. There's like this, you're either a dancer or you're not a dancer. And when you don't dance anymore, a lot of times it comes from something really awful happening. And she's saying she doesn't pick up her ballet shoes anymore.
Well, and it's also thinking about the life that she lost and the version of herself that she lost after this huge trauma happens. Because after trauma, you're not the same person.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean it's negative. It's just you're not the same. And so I imagine there's a good portion of her that dance equates to a life before everything happened with the devils. And I can't imagine wanting to go back to that, knowing that you can never be that person again.
Yeah. And some people, I think, in the dance world, probably in other kind of hobbies and loves and passions that they walk away from. I know several people who've stopped dancing entirely, and they can't do it casually. Like, they cannot go take a ballet class because of it affecting them emotionally.
Have you asked them to watch Save the Last Dance again?
Some of the people I'm thinking about work in the arts, but they cannot. They love going to the ballet, but they cannot make their bodies do it.
Whoa.
Really intense. Yeah.
Crazy.
So her eyes, as she's having these thoughts, her eyes are moving around the room, and she notes the number of tanks and terrariums scattered amongst the bookshelves, filled with common creatures like snakes and lizards. Lily likes to make names up for them.
Lehaba never named anything in the biggest tank, though. The massive one that occupied an entire wall of the library, and whose glass expanse revealed a watery gloom. Mercifully, the tank was currently empty. Last year, Bryce lobbied on Lehaba's behalf for a few iris eels to brighten the murky blue with their shimmering rainbow light. Jessica had said no, and instead bought a pet kelpie that had humped the glass with all the finesse of a wasted college guy.
Which is very funny.
Kelpie's got a hump, 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 hump. Man, sometimes, I get it. I feel like if I was put into like that kind of a tank, I'd probably be humping all about. Or I'd be a sucker fish.
We're at Rune's house in chapter 16, and Rune is getting faded. He smoked the mirth root, and he's sinking into his bed, just trying to have a nice time, when suddenly his sister appears in front of him.
I just love fantasy drugs, and I want to smoke mirth root, and I mean, I'm gonna assume it's a bit of a weed-esque.
That's what it seems like. It seems like the way he describes it almost seems like heroin, but hopefully it's not that intense.
In my brain, I have it more as a weed because I just want to smoke weed with Rune.
Sure.
And then we have a lot of sex. What?
Anyway, so
they're just hanging out. His sister just showed up, Jackie.
Yeah, Jesus. So this is following this time where Bryce had been sitting in the basement of Griffin, and she's now on a new task. But we are with Rune's POV in chapter 16. And he is very shocked to see Bryce in his room. On top of being high, he thinks about how the last time she was in this bachelor pad house he lives in that he shares with his besties, Tristan and Declan, she was 16. And he had spent, at that point, a good amount of time cleaning it up and making it presentable. So it's been years since Bryce has come to this home because they, had a big falling out that we don't know much about yet.
I will say very impressive that he tried to make it presentable because I do remember when I first met Ed Larson, it was me in high school going to go visit Henry up at Florida State. And that was when Henry and Eddie were living in that horrible, disgusting place with way too many people. I think there was someone living in the dining room as well as in the living room. And I was like, there was a bathroom upstairs that literally just said, "Do not go in here. We mean it." They just literally closed. It was so disgusting.
Is that
something
the one,
had exploded in the bathroom.
Was it the one with the shower where the wall came down and all the bugs fell on?
Yes. So what they did when all the bugs fell in was they went, "Oh shit." And then they just closed the door of the bathroom and didn't go back inside of it. And I was 16, 17 years old. And I was just like, what is happening? I just thought that that's what happened in college. It was like they didn't even try. And Henry did say he had tried to make it look nicer for me, but I don't know if he did. But I will also say Henry did not force me to share a couch with someone that was living on the couch, which was some dude that I didn't know. He shared the couch with that dude over the weekend so that I could, and I was able to stay in Henry's bed instead.
Was that the crust punk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who I immediately had a crush on. Yeah. And it was probably for the best that we didn't share a couch.
Yeah.
Oh, you got no place to go and you're so dirty and oh, wow, you haven't changed your clothes in like 5 days? Oh, wow.
I remember hanging around a bunch of crust punks at 16 who were adults who said stuff like, age is just like, it's like an establishment thing.
Yeah, when you're saying that to someone 20 years younger than you trying to bang them, just think about your fucking life choices, huh?
Yeah, well,
it's just a number. Come on. In my mind, I'm still 14. It's like, well, that's scary. And you should go to a doctor.
But you're so mature for your age, though.
Man, that's the worst part is on a teenager, though. That line works.
Of course it does.
And hopefully not to these Zoomers. Hopefully the Zoomers are different.
I think they are actually quite a bit different. They understand a little bit more because we treat
predators.
We treated in our time. We treated young women like older teenagers as though they were like the most like you have to go be adults now. And I think we've pulled back on that a little bit, which is a good thing in my opinion.
Yeah, you can be a kid.
Yeah, because man, that line just always works, especially on a kid like me who always wanted to be grown up,
older.
I just wanted to stop being a teenager because it sucks.
Oh yeah. Take your time.
Take your time.
Live your life. Enjoy yourself. All those children that are listening to this podcast.
I know. We have such a huge audience.
Teen listenership. Wow.
Via Gen Alpha. What are they called? Alpha Sigmas?
Yeah, the Alpha Sigs.
So
Anyway, this is a house that I want to go to and feel uncomfortable because I want to have sex with all of the boys that live there.
Sure. And so he is living in a bachelor pad, and even because he's only 75, so like he's still like figuring things out. And it is filled with drugs and intoxicated homies in this moment because he didn't know she was coming. He recalls the last time she was here was actually the very last day that they were friends, that whatever fight that they had occurred in this very room.
Talk about it, Bryce. It's okay.
Not completely sure that she's not a hallucination. He allows her to lead him through the house to back downstairs because she wants to get him some water because she needs to like slap him awake. She needs to talk to him.
Yeah.
Through his haze, he knows that whatever has drawn her here must be pretty important, and he tries to gain some semblance of comprehension skills as they walk down the grand staircase in this house that I imagine is or was nice, but they've kind of trashed it.
They had turned it into a party house.
And it's made clear in his thoughts that he and his roommates are of 50 years live to party and party to live.
Hell yeah, man. That's got to be, honestly, I wouldn't want my 20s to last 50 years. That's got to be so tiring.
I guess if you live for, 500
Hundreds,
years,
yeah.
that it's...
Doesn't seem that long.
It's the ratio makes sense, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that is true, yeah.
I'd like to not be boring when I'm 75, so, I get it.
Yeah.
So he does acknowledge, though, that he never gets all messed up when his duties as an Ox member are required. He's a strictly off-work party boy. So he's got responsibilities.
I know. I get you, Rune. Same. I do need everyone to know, though, if you're talking to me after most likely 7 p.m. and I don't have a show that night, I'm high as shit.
Oh, sure.
I feel like that's just a given.
Yeah, but you're just relaxing.
But I wait until at the end of the day.
It's very responsible.
At the end of the day, I smoke all the weed.
Oh, okay. They're not there yet.
Sorry.
They enter a room filled with revelers and people playing pool.
Tristan Flynn, son of Lord Hawthorne, presided over it from a nearby armchair, a pretty dryad on his lap. The glazed light in his brown eyes mirrored Rune's own. Flynn gave Bryce a crooked grin as she approached. All it usually took was one look, and females crawled into Tristan Flynn's lap, just like the tree nymph, or, if the look was more of a glower, any enemies outright bolted.
Gotta be totally honest. I have a hard time differentiating Tristan and Declan.
Thank you for saying it.
And I have to look at fan art to picture them because all I can see are Colin and Finn from Gilmore Girls, which is Logan Huntsberger's best friends.
Oh my God. Yes, I didn't think about that's where my brain was. And yes, you are correct.
I don't find either of them attractive. And
no.
This will not do. Because they are individuals and they're independent. So I put a picture of Tristan in the script here.
Not into him.
No, he's got a preppy vibe. He's a type. Obviously, he's not
He's just
gross,
not our type.
But he's a preppy looking guy. His chestnut colored hair. It's short.
He looks like he works in
polo.
finance and that, he's golfing with his boys.
Yes. Apparently, it's Bryce's type, as we learned, at least when she was a kid. And
you don't like alpha holes? I just feel like, Bryce, you should work on your type.
I think she's over him at this point, but he's got a fancy title from Daddy and hates it, just like Rune, and it's likely how they bonded. His father is named Lord Hawthorne from a nearby territory. And Tristan has a rare form of earth magic.
Declan called from the sectional couch at the other end of the living room, a laptop on his knee and a very interested Drocky male half sprawled over him, running clawed fingers through Dec's dark red hair.
Hey, Bryce, to what do we owe the pleasure?
This is my problem, is I want to fuck the shit out of Declan.
I mean,
obviously I do.
No, but he's gorgeous, of course.
He's super hot, covered in tats, and I want to kiss him.
His eyes are amazing. His, amber-colored eyes. Declan looks more punkish like Rune. He's very beautiful and super gay. And he's the one with the mad hacking skills. That comes into play a lot in the story.
Honestly, he kind of looks like Troye Sivan, but with red hair.
He's got really fiery red hair.
Yeah.
You know what it is for me, I think, is that both names end in an Ann. and they're two syllables, Tristan and Declan. It's too close to me. My brain doesn't want to separate them.
It is
But
weird.
I'm going to do it.
I know you're going to do it. And it also is weird what our brains do, that I feel like sometimes it's easier for me to differentiate if I'm looking at the words and the shape of someone's name. And I know even as I'm saying this, I'm like, no one does that, Jackie. But
No,
you know what I
that's-
mean?
I know, I
that I
think
feel like
that's
it
not weird.
helps me remember like how they're connected to people.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And so sometimes I feel like when I listen to the audiobooks, it's not as it's more difficult for me to differentiate.
Totally. They all perk up and become curious about why Bryce is here this evening. Rune thinks about their long-standing friendship between the three males and how them happening to go through their ordeal together really bonded them in a way nothing else could. Then we get some more insight into what the ordeal entails.
The ordeal itself varied depending on the person. For some, it might be as simple as overcoming an illness or a bit of personal strife. For others, it might be slaying a worm or a demon. The greater the fey, the greater the ordeal.
How embarrassed would you be if your ordeal was just getting like a stomach virus? And they're like,
I wish my cough would go away.
that's it, huh?
Wow,
Okay.
you must be really powerful. But even then, it doesn't quite explain what the ordeal is. Like, I like that it's like a thing, and you'll know if the thing happens.
Right. Basically, that's what they say is that you know when it happens. Like, when it starts occurring, you're like, oh, this is the ordeal. So the three of them went through something harrowing, but all we know at this point was that the three of them almost died in some place called the Cave of Princes. And Rune's, quote, hateful cousins from Avelin were involved. The three of them then proceeded to make the drop together the following week.
So, all right, we got the different ordeal and the drop are two different things.
Yes. Quite reminiscent of three boys making it to the top of a mountain, I would say.
It's just, it's so insane because I remember I had read Crescent City after reading ACOTAR, but before reading Throne of Glass. And at this point, I was so like, how are they not the Bat Boys? I don't understand. Like, this is just the Bat Boys. It's just what the Bat Boys went through. But it really is fun because SJM goes on and like does such different things with them that I completely forgot that they went through the ordeal together.
They are very different from the Bat Boys, but they share some similarities in this way. And I also just really enjoy how she portrays male friendships because they're not just blatantly toxic.
Yes, and it's not just like I think it's so great to also flesh out that like dudes also talk about other things besides just pussy, as opposed to what like most sitcoms have
Getting
told
gains.
us, or like hating their wife and gains. Like those are the things that like the sitcoms from our youth told us about male friendships, and it's just not the case.
The hating your wife trope through the
So
90s and
annoying.
80s was the worst.
Right, it's so annoying. Like, what are you talking about? Peg Bundy is so fucking hot.
And she wants to bang you all the time?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's horrible for me. I love Married with Children.
I do too. I love
Married with Children, but still, like now as an adult looking at it, I'm like, man, all that ball and chain shit, over it.
Stupid. So they're downstairs in this party, and Bryce gives Rune water so he can try to flush the drugs out of his body. And then she tells the other boys to piss off. She has to speak with Rune in private. Because all of these people are down here, they go back up to his room for privacy, and she lays everything out. She's been put on this task of finding out what happened to Danica, and she wants to know if the Fae Ox have any intel on the Viper Queen's whereabouts when Maximus was shredded the other night.
Man, even just the phrase Viper Queen gets me slipping out of my seat.
I
I'm
love
so
Viper
attracted to just
Queen.
the look of Viper Queen,
Mhm.
and just thinking about, I know that you're not supposed to want to kiss her. I know that. But she's so bad.
I mean, you are kind of. I mean, she makes her appealing.
She's seductive.
We don't know a ton about the Viper Queen just yet, but it seems as though she runs the area known as the meat market. Rune is new to the news that Bryce has been sent out on this mission, and he's very unhappy about it.
Oh, he's so protective.
He tells her that he's going to speak to the governor and tell him that Bryce is off this case. He doesn't have any info of the Viper Queen, but he wouldn't have told her anyway, as he doesn't want her to get this deep into the very real danger. Despite Bryce's protests and hesitations when she was put onto the task, Rune watches her become cold and intense when he challenges her.
Well, she doesn't want to be challenged.
And he realizes that she's turned a corner and now has become determined to find out who killed Danica. So even though she didn't really want this, she's not going to stop now.
Yeah, now she's in it, and now she's going to do whatever the hell she's going to do. And if there's one thing you know about Bryce Quinlan, you're not going to tell her what she can and cannot do.
No, even if it takes her years, even if she dies. He thinks about how so few people know her beyond being a party brat. But that isn't really who she is. He calls her, quote, a master of her own fate in his thoughts. But then, as they're going through this and his mind is sort of like trying to get detangle the drugs from his thought processes, he realizes he's also been put on a nearly impossible task by the Autumn King.
Man, yikes.
Thanks a lot, Dad.
Sorry, I'm a
Dad.
bad dad, not like the other dads. I'm a bad dad.
Lots of dads are bad, unfortunately.
I feel like a lot of dads are bads, and I would, you know what? I'm about to make a blank assumption that if you're a scientist daddy, that you're so wrapped up in science that you don't want to be a daddy.
Whoa, shots fired.
Shots fired towards scientists. Just in general, just all scientists.
We're making enemies of you, science nerds.
No, I think you know where this idea comes from. As I was saying, I was like, I think Jackie does all of this come from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yes, Natalie. Yes, Natalie. How did you know? How did you know?
That's so fucking crazy.
Oh no, should we not be working together? Should we not be doing this, Natalie?
I just think this more than anything is that Disney and Nickelodeon like destroyed our minds.
Us. I think that's, I guess that's why I feel that way. I'm sorry, scientists. You're probably not all like Rick Moranis. You might, make the baby be really big. I don't think that you're going to do that. But I guess this is just how I feel as a scientist daddy today.
And I feel only positive vibes about Rick Moranis, the man.
Oh, I know. Only good things are ever said about him.
He has the same birthday as me, too. Whatever,
oh, my God. That means
deal.
you're good people. Well, I share a birthday with Napoleon Bonaparte. So what does that say about me?
Maybe also Napoleon Dynamite. We don't know what his birthday is.
Do you want a llama? I forget. I don't remember anything about Napoleon Dynamite.
Really?
Llama?
It's one of
There
my
was a llama,
favorites.
right?
Tina, you fat lard. Eat. Tina the llama.
I remember, I think I've seen Napoleon Dynamite probably 10 times, but not in 20 years. So
Rewatch it. It's fantastic still.
All right, I guess it holds up. I guess I got to watch Napoleon Dynamite.
So he remembers, oh, fuck, I have this thing I have to also do. And he very casually, pretty pathetically asks her, hey,
crazy.
Did you ever hear anything about that Luna's horn thing, remember, from a couple years ago?
I know, crazy. Like, I know it's like a fae thing. Like, who cares? But like,
She's like, no. And he's like, oh, cool. I was just checking. Anyway, he's
not that pathetic, Natalie. He's only sexy.
He's like basically hoping that he doesn't have to do this.
She's
just gonna tell him.
Well, also you got to remember he was just sitting and smoking a bunch of weed. Like he doesn't want to think about like what he's been tasked to do.
No. Exasperated by him, Bryce buys him and begins walking towards the front door of their house. He follows her, launching himself over the second-story railing to the foyer. His two backups joining ranks so that he slams down and Declan and Tristan come and stand behind him, kind of getting the idea that Rune's hackles have gone up about something.
Uh-oh.
They follow Bryce out the front door and end up face to face with a grimacing Umbra Mortis, staring daggers at them from across the street.
I love just him standing across the street like,
But I feel like he's more like annoyed. Like he's,
yeah.
I like the way that Bryce sort of like dresses him down. It's not, I don't feel scared by him. I feel like he's just annoyed, like super annoyed, just being like, I feel stupid standing here. Like that's how I feel like he's standing. But obviously he could kill them with like one swipe.
Oh yeah, just the thought.
The four males engage in a pissing contest. Rune reminiscing about the fist fight he had gotten into Hunt with the year prior. Rune's boys talking
I don't know,
down.
Rune. I know you're very strong, but Hunt's really big.
Yeah, and they both had some damage, but I feel like Hunt would win in that situation. I do know that Rune is big, strong man.
Yes.
But he's not big, strong angel Umbra Mortis.
And like God,
Lightning
even
power.
just thinking that like that's like not even all of Hunt's power.
It's
He's so
Sliver.
powerful.
So Tristan and Declan basically pull Rune away because they're all like, this is not a good time to start a fight. We are on drugs. This is like in front of our house. And so they pull him back away, and Bryce begins to make her way down the street with Hunt trailing her. Rune watches with some satisfaction as Bryce consistently fucks with Hunt, switching directions and walking off of curbs so that he like has to stumble into the street and stuff.
Such like a dumb, like it is, honestly, brat is such a good word to describe. Like it's so bratty. It really is very bratty, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Then we're with Bryce's thoughts as Hunt is trailing her. He demands audibly to know what they're doing. Feeling satisfied, she pulls from her pocket a list of suspects. The one that he was shouting about earlier, telling her she needed to do this, and she was ignoring him. So in his mind, he thought she just didn't do it. But then she's like, here's the list. And he's like, when did you do that? She criticizes him for thinking that she was just a, quote, dumb, vapid female. When he points out that she did, in fact, spend the morning getting her nails done.
And they look great, Natalie.
Thank you. She drops the bomb on him. Yes, she did go do that. And what do you know? It just so happens that the nail tech is Maximus Tertian's girlfriend.
Interesting.
He's like, what? Ugh. She found out through some online sleuthing the night before, and she got the heartbroken veneer babe to go spill some info while she got her nails done that morning.
I just wish she could have taken more time off work. Not to be like that, but like, your boyfriend just got really murdered.
Yeah, but I guess it's just like a hard life, you know?
Another day, another dollar.
Yep. The girlfriend tells, through Bryce's picking through information with this nail tech, she's pulling information from her secretly. She doesn't know why she's getting information, like why Bryce is asking. She basically commiserates with the nail tech, saying that she lost Danica.
Right.
And so they're like kind of just gabbing over getting their nails done. And she discerns from this conversation that even though Micah said Danica and Maximus were friends, that is not true. Because the girlfriend mentions that had Maximus known Danica, he would have been bragging about it because he was very egotistical and Danica was famous, so he would have been talking about how he knew Danica.
Man, it's probably for the best that you're not a girlfriend to this dude anymore. So I don't want to say you're welcome, girlfriend nail technician, but I think you're welcome.
It could have been sort of like a transactional kind of relationship, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope. For sake.
So, but they did have a connection by Bryce's wager that it was, in fact, the Viper Queen that connected Maximus to Danica, whose nails this nail tech did on Sundays. And so the Viper Queen
Every Sunday getting your nails done?
I think if you're like a bougie bitch like the Viper Queen, you do.
Wow.
So there was this connection of the nail tech who knew the Viper Queen and Maximus and Danica, and they had this connection, which is why Bryce wants to find out about the Viper Queen's whereabouts the evening Maximus was killed.
I guess it makes sense, Bryce.
Yeah. Guess you're not just some dumb, vapid female after all.
Whoa.
I mean, to be fair to Hunt, she was behaving like she didn't show him that she was doing anything
She
positive.
wasn't communicating any of the things she was actually working on. She was just acting like a brat.
Yeah. And she clearly did that because she is savoring the fact that he was wrong in this moment.
Yes.
So she is being a brat. And she also points out that just Danica working in the Wolf Auxiliary would have made her an enemy to people like the Viper Queen due to the Viper Queen's backroom dealings.
Makes sense. And just the overall knowledge that the wolves were against, violence and crime. And it turns out Viper Queen really likes violence and crime.
So Bryce and Hunt bicker and argue all through this walk back from Rune's house to her apartment. Hunt stumbling through his disbelief that she's actually been working on the case and had ideas on who to keep track of.
Yeah, surprise, Hunt. Something's happening between her ears.
Wow. He's doubly aghast when she tells him to have his people not only tail the Viper Queen, but also Bryce's, quote, uncle, the Autumn King.
Me?
She doesn't think he did the murders, but thinks it will be of importance what the Autumn King does once Rune fills him in on all the stuff she's just told Rune. So she's kind of like playing manipulative chess right now with all these people. And Hunt's like, you want me to follow these two very dangerous, powerful individuals? Great.
Great. Awesome. And one of them might make my family really big. Really cool.
So he is irritated, but he does see her point in checking these people out. So he gets on the phone the second they part ways at her front door. We're still with Bryce, though, inside of her building, and she thinks about her father, not her uncle, but her father, Jackie.
Daddy.
And the power, all of the power that the Fae Lords wield.
The Autumn King was a courtesy title in addition to her father's role as a city head. As for all the 7 Fae Kings, no kingdom was truly their own. Even Avalon, the Green Isle ruled by the Stag King, still bowed to the Republic.
Stag King, you say?
Whoa.
7 Fae Kings, you say? Interesting.
Stag King. Stag King.
Worlds being woven?
Oh my God.
That's the sound of it. Sound of worlds.
I love these things exploding.
Woven.
Oh my God. It sounds like crackles. It's crazy that like these kind of like pulling out these little, just this little whatever line that she'll write in to connect things that you're just like, man, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's crazy. We learn quickly that even though Bryce had agreed to Hunt just moments ago not to seek out the Viper Queen without a formal government request, sort of like a warrant, I think is what Hunt was suggesting. Like,
Yeah.
don't go down there until we have it all like made an appointment
Organized.
because she's very dangerous. And Bryce is like, sure. Moments later, after they part, that it is in fact Bryce not going to bed right now, but she has come to change clothes and grab some weapons because she is going immediately to the meat market. Well,
right. The opposite of what Hunt told her to do.
Yes. So she waits 30 minutes.
She waits 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30 minutes, but mostly just because she wants to throw Hunt off the trail. So she pulls a Ferris Bueller and sets her living room up as though she's sitting there watching TV and like cracks the curtains so he can see that happening. And then she sneaks around from the view of the window and exits her apartment.
Sneaking out the rear stairwell of her building to the small alley where her scooter was chained, Bryce took a swift, bracing breath before fitting on her helmet.
She zips around in the bustling evening traffic on her scoot, heading closer to the mysterious and much quieter meat market section of town.
Few people walked the streets of the CBD at this hour, and Bryce made sure to get through its canyons of high-rises as swiftly as possible. She knew she'd entered the meat market, not by any street or marker, but by the shift in the darkness.
We get a very quick understanding that the meat market is a seedy, dangerous place. Ugly stuff happens here. Forbidden items sold and traded. Other things.
Vendors and shoppers alike eyed her to glean if she was selling or for sale. In the warrens below, carved deep into Midgard's womb, lay 3 different levels just for flesh. Mostly human, mostly living, though she'd heard of some places that specialized in certain tastes. Every fetish could be bought. No taboo was too foul.
Yikes.
I mean, it is an interesting place. You know, the dark web does exist, and it seems like the meat market is the dark web for Midgard.
Yeah, that's upsetting, especially mostly living.
Yikes.
Uh-oh. This seems like a place she shouldn't probably go alone.
Yeah, probably.
But fortunately, she won't have to.
The Umbra Mortis slammed to the ground, cracking the cobblestones in a rippling circle. Hunt's eyes practically glowed as he said, in full view of those cowering along the street.
I am going to kill you.
Sorry, Hunt. Did I do a bad thing?
She had to have known he was going to follow.
She had to have known that
She's
he
just
was going to
torturing
follow.
him.
Yes, there is no way. He is so good at following people. He's like, that is what? He's hundreds of years old. Like, what are you talking about, Bryce? You really think you're gonna, like, you're only 20-something. You can't get away with this kind of shit.
And I imagine she knew that, and she just wanted to fuck with him and, like, make him mad, which she accomplished.
Yeah, she does. She's really, really good at doing that to him.
Maybe she just wanted to see him, like, I don't know, be, like, kind of I guess, sexy or whatever, like slamming
I
to the
don't
ground
know.
and cracking the cobblestones in
Yeah.
a rippling circle.
Yeah, I'm like scaring everybody, but like knowing that he's like kind of fun and kind of silly and kind of cute.
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
All right.
It's next week.
I'm going to go back to my workout. This looks like my costume looks like I'm wearing a 2009. Remember when everybody wore these to the clubs?
Oh, yeah, the headbands.
But I was trying to make it look like a sweatband because I was on my jog to the nail salon.
Oh, gotcha. No, you look like a Hadid.
Oh, I look like a Hadid?
Yeah. You're welcome.
I guess. Thank you.